everyone, Alexandria. I thought people might be interested in finding out what Lost Coast was about, so while I was in the mood, I decided why not record it. So here it is. It's mostly just showing off the things about the graphics and stuff like that. These little things will start explaining them, so I hope you enjoyed it. Let's get it on.
Hi, this is Gabe Newell, and welcome to the Lost Coast. In this tour, we're going to be talking about a new graphics technology we've been developing called High Dynamic Range, or HDR. We'll also be giving you some insight into the design and production challenges we faced during the construction of the Lost Coast. First, a quick explanation of the commentary system. To listen to a commentary node, put your crosshair over the floating commentary symbol and press your use key. To stop the commentary, put your crosshair over the rotating node and press your use key again. Some commentary nodes may take control of the game for the purpose of showing something to you. In these cases, simply pressing your use key will stop the commentary.
Yay!
When the art team started to think about a location that would demonstrate the power of HDR, a beach was one of the first choices we made. The visual relationship between the sky, the water, and the rocks is something we could not achieve without HDR. In order for high dynamic range to correctly simulate the light's interaction with the surfaces around it, like these wet rocks, we needed more precise information about the surfaces than we've had in the past. And now going forward, we're modeling textures in 3D packages to ensure that the physical information encoded in the texture allows HDR to correctly bounce light off the surface. We also designed the colors and values of each surface to ensure they will be correct to affect all exposure levels.
Good. I don't think I'll be talking a lot because they'll probably go over what they're saying, so don't expect me to be chatter until after they're finished.
With conventional rendering, seen here on the left, if something on the screen is 20% reflected, like the wet sand, then the maximum reflected brightness could only be 20% of the maximum brightness of your monitor. HDR's more accurate simulation of light ensures that the sun's reflection on this wet sand appears as it would in the real world, which could potentially use 100% of the maximum monitor brightness. HDR uses bloom to simulate light that is beyond 100% of a monitor's maximum brightness.
How interesting. Why the hell did that come out of one of my speakers only? I don't know. Anyway.
The process of building characters in Half-Life 2 taught us many things. By the end, we believed we'd figured out a more effective process for designing and constructing characters. This fisherman is the first character we built using that process. Design-wise, the fisherman was focused on showcasing HDR and the way light falls on human skin. The highlights on his forehead and nose are good examples of specularity on human skin. You can see how the wrinkles on his cheeks and around his eyes are an example of how we can use normal maps to add depth. Production-wise, the fisherman was built using a similar process to the rocks you saw on the beach. We model the 3D character at a very high detail, then extract much of the physical information and store it in the textures.
Goody.
Hey! You there? Wait a minute now, aren't you? You are. You're that scientist chap, the Freeman, Fishman. Am I right?
Freeman.
You must be here to take on the Combine. Not sure what one man can do, but no other reason to visit St. Olga at a time like this. I'll take you to where they made their base, or as far as I can, at any rate.
Alright, this moment, Alexandria Freeman. Yeah, I made a fun now. No.
Water presents us with the rendering challenges. In fact, we have to render the scene 3 times. Once for the refraction of what's under the water, once for the reflection of everything above the water, and once from the player's view. You can see the reflection and refraction scenes in the 2 small windows on screen. In the refraction, we calculate per pixel how much water you're looking through to do a volumetric underwater fog to simulate particulate matter. For our full HDR solution, we had to go through the entire engine and modify every bit of code that calculated
Oh dear.
For example,
Skipping.
these water reflection and refraction renderings had to be improved to support the full range of contrast values.
I'll be really surprised if anybody finds this interesting.
Here, now, let me just unlock this gate.
Oh my god, I'm being eaten.
Right here. There we go. Get along now, laddie. Destroy that gun and no dawdling.
Can I have that one? Ah, has a grenade. Yeah, you don't want to fall off into the water with piranhas in it. Little bastards. Hi! Where you going? Let's have some fun. Don't want to jump in the water. Whee!
The area you're currently entering is called the Cliffside Arena. We were particularly happy with the vertical cliffside in Half-Life 1 and regretted that we didn't iterate further on that concept in Half-Life 2. Vertical space allows us to force the player to deal with threats from above and below. We find that players focus their view on the direction they're traveling, so by using a cliffside and having the player ascend it, we ensure that the player will look up and be prepared for enemies. If the player's path was to move past the bottom of the cliffside, it would be unlikely he would notice soldiers rappelling down from above. And dying from unknown threats never feels fair and certainly isn't fun.
No, it's not. Demonstration of that. In the back. Go and die. Come on. Take it in the man. Come on. Yeah. He has armor on. I don't like you. You're nice, so. So are you. Ah, that's a shotgun. Whee. I'm sure you've noticed by now I'm not actually getting hurt in this, so it just really does show it's not an action.
One of the features of our HDR solution is dynamic tone mapping. The easiest way to think about dynamic tone mapping is that it's a method of simulating the way the human eye reacts to light. In the real world, you've probably walked into a dark room and noticed your eye adjusting to the darkness, letting you see better after some time. Or you've walked out into a bright day and been blinded by the sun, only to have your eye adjust and allow you to see normally. Your iris is adjusting itself in response to the amount of light hitting your eye. Dynamic tone mapping simulates this by automatically adjusting the exposure of the scene to mimic the behavior of your iris. You can see this as the view moves from the dark tunnel to the bright sun and back again. Here, you can see the way we calculate the amount of light hitting the player's eyes. We take a snapshot of the scene, measure the brightness levels, and then use that to adjust exposure. We consider light at the center of the screen more important than at the edges to better simulate the geometry of the eye.